Welcome to today's video. Today's video is all about how to perfect a bold lip. We are in the time of year where I think it's really fun and a great time to kind of step out of your comfort zone and pop on a really bold color on the lips. However, I think they can be a little intimidating, right? A little scary because one, it's a bold color, brings a lot of attention to your lips, to your mouth, but two, if it moves, it's not really something you can see. So you're walking around thinking, oh my gosh, do I have red lipstick on my cheek, on my chin, all of that. So I'm going to share with you guys some tips and tricks to really perfect the bold lip, but also ensure that it doesn't move and kind of minimize it moving. So today I'm going to be using the Christian Audette Mel Thompson lipstick in the shade Puffin. This has been my bold lip color of choice lately. It is such a beautiful, like coral red color. I'm going to swatch it on my hand before I put it on my lips so you guys can see. It is like stunning. It just reminds me of like this gorgeous, like orange fire engine red. I love it. And I'm also going to be using the two lip liners from that collection, which might actually surprise you because they are both nude neutral lip liners. They're not a liner that matches this lipstick, but I'm going to kind of teach you guys how I use those and how they really help keep the lipstick in place. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put my hair back. Now, before we start, I do want to mention when Mel Thompson launched this collab, it was sold in a set, and as of recently, they are now selling them individually. So you can pick up this, or you can pick up the lipstick Beauties, which is like a more of a neutral lipstick, separately. You don't have to purchase the whole collection. Let me kind of get my mirror here, my lips. So I like to moisturize my lips, but I don't want my lips to be too glossy or too creamy when I'm working with a bold lip. For me, the idea is really to kind of minimize products that are going to make my lipstick move. I do like to work with formulas that are more matte or creamy matte in texture versus very glossy, bold lips. Obviously, if it's really glossy or very sheer, it is going to have a tendency to move a little bit more. So I either like to go with mattes. I'm not a huge fan of liquid lipsticks. Most formulas I find to be too drying, and especially with a bold lip, I find that when you have a really drying formula and a bold color, it can make your lips look really small, and it can also just maximize the appearance of texture, fine lines, all of that stuff, and we don't want to do that. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start by lining my lips, and I'm going to line my lips with the darker of the lip pencils. It's called Smooches. This is the lip color, or the lip liner color. I'm going to show you right here. You can see that it's a really, really nice, like classic kind of spicy nude lip pencil. And then I'm also going to be using the lip pencil Kitten. I'm going to show you this one. This one's a lot lighter. It has a little bit more like pinky to it. You can see it's kind of more of that muted lip pencil, and I'm actually going to be using these both. And I did a video a long time ago on my channel. I don't even know which video it is, but I talked about this. This was a trick I learned at MAC, is to line your lips with a neutral or nude lip pencil before applying red or any bold color, because what it does is, because it's the color of your lips, it almost kind of fakes the, you know what video it was? I think it was on how to make your lips look bigger. It kind of fakes the appearance of your natural lip line. So I'm going to go in with the lighter one first. I'm going to go in with Kitten, and I'm basically going to line my lips. I'm going to line the actual natural lip line and a little further out. I'm going to zoom you guys in closer because I feel like that'll be more helpful. Okay, here we are. You can see that my lips have quite a bit of texture to them. So I'm going to line my lips and slightly extend that line a little bit out. I'm not lining outside of my lip line, but I am slightly giving a little bit more volume. So that was really just to kind of even out my lips. I have one side of my lips that's a little bit larger and one that's a little smaller, so I'm just trying to even that out. With a bold lip is really going to draw a lot of attention to the lip, so it's really going to magnify any imperfections or fine lines, texture, unevenness. It's gonna bring attention to that, so I'm trying to kind of correct that. Then next I'm going to go in and I'm going to kind of fill my lip in. Now I have a really soft hand. I'm not really pressing too hard. I'm just kind of softly sketching to create a base there. And the reason I do that is because when this lipstick fades, after I eat or drink throughout the day, I actually find this to be very long wearing, but all lipsticks are going to, you know, fade throughout the day, right? So whether that's 3 hours later or 6 or 8 hours later, I want there to be a base on my lips so that I don't see this harsh line and then nothing on my lips. So putting that lip liner there is gonna kind of help that. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna apply the lipstick first, and then we might go back over it with Smooch's lip pencil to kind of tweak the color if I want. So this is the shade Puffin. It's so beautiful. If you have green or blue eyes, like this color is, every time I wear a color like this, I always get compliments. And it's like, I need to wear colors like this more often because I always go to like my neutral soft colors, but every time I wear a color like this, I get complimented. So I'm just gonna apply this on the lips. Oh my gosh, look at that, it's so pretty. I also like the shape of this lipstick. You can see that there's a really nice fine tip. Let me see if I can help focus that. There you go. You see that fine tip? So that's gonna really help kind of line your lip. Now, one tip is not to like layer and layer and layer. The idea is you want an impact of color, which this lipstick is great because you can just do one sheer layer and then you get that. If I were to continue to layer and layer and layer, all I'm doing is like building product on top of product on top of product, which is going to allow more opportunity to move. So really just apply as much as you need. Get the opaqueness that you want, which I have now, and then kind of press the lips together, because you're kind of blotting them. If you're working with a creamier formula, you can always grab a tissue and blot your lips. That's also gonna help remove any excess product and again, eliminate the opportunity for that product to move. So I'm just pressing my lips together just to make sure that the color fully gets all around my lip line so it looks really even. Okay, next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take Smooches. If you wanna tweak this a little bit, or if you put a color on and you feel like, oh, it's a little too bright for me or I wanna tone it down, you can always grab a nude lip pencil, like a spicy color. Obviously that'll vary depending on your skin tone, but I find a shade like this is perfect for me. And I'm just going to very, 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 very lightly. So lightly, I'm not pressing hard, I'm not using the tip, I'm actually using the side of the pencil. That is going to give me a softer, kind of chunkier line, and it's not gonna be like that super defined line, you know what I mean? And I'm just going to come in here, kind of fill in the corners a little bit. Each time I do, I kind of press the lips together to really diffuse and blend that line into the lipstick. I feel like that looks pretty blended, but I want to add a little bit more of the lipstick on that corner. Okay, so that's just going to deepen the color a little bit. Okay, so now that you have your lip color on, I mean, how pretty is that? It's so pretty. Now that you have your lip color on, there's a couple of tips that you can do outside of your lip line to kind of help act as a barrier to keep that lipstick from feathering or moving. You can do two things. You can either apply a foundation or a concealer, or you can apply a powder. I don't really think there's a need to do both. I think doing both can be a little overkill, and when you layer too much product on the skin, it can magnify texture, right? So I personally like to use powder. I find that it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit easier. Really, any translucent powder that you have. I have two in front of me. I have the translucent by Revolution Beauty, and then I have the La Mer. Let's use this one because this one is much more friendlier on the wallet. And I'm just going to put a little bit into the lid here. Now, I like to use a brush like shaped like this, something flat and about this size. I'm gonna use this one. Since we're using powder, I'm gonna use this one. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit fluffier, but still very stiff. It has a nice flat edge. I'm gonna load my brush up with that powder, and I'm really just gonna kind of trace my lip line. Of course, you want it to be translucent so that when you put it on the skin, it just disappears. You don't want to do anything that's going to create like a different color around your lips. Another tip you can do is you can actually use your finger with powder on it and lightly press it onto the lips. Again, you really want this to be translucent if you're doing this because you don't want to have like a powder, you know, a white powder on your lips. But what that's going to do is set that lipstick to keep it from moving, kind of make it a little bit more matte. It also, if you can tell, kind of gives it a very soft focused look. So it kind of will blur out lines in the lips. But again, you just want to use the smallest amount. If you use too much, it could actually work against you. So don't use too much. Okay, the other trick I just want to show you in case you prefer this technique. I don't like this. I shouldn't say I don't like this, but I find that powder works well enough for me. But the other trick would be to use a concealer and pretty much do the same thing. A concealer might work better for you if you have very dry skin or you do have a lot of lines that kind of go from the lip onto above the lip line. I would probably use a concealer or something a little bit creamier than maybe a powder. Now I just have this concealer in front of me. Actually, we're going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away concealer. You want to use something that's thinner in consistency. I would avoid using a really thick concealer. Now, this applicator is not ideal. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to put the product onto my hand, and then I'm going to use a small brush. It's basically the same brush I use for powder, but a lot smaller. This is the 242 by MAC, and I'm going to get product all over the tip of that brush, and I'm going to trace my skin, you know, right above that lip liner. Now, this technique can also make a lip really pop if you use a concealer shade that's slightly lighter than your skin. You don't want it to be too light because you don't want to obviously have this light ring around your mouth, but if it's a little bit lighter, it is going to contrast with that bold lip and make it just pop even a little bit more. It's kind of the same idea as putting concealer underneath the brow. It's kind of the same idea. Putting concealer can also give the illusion of more volume on your upper lip, because again, the lighter it is, the more it's going to reflect light. It's kind of the same idea of putting a highlighter right here on the Cupid's bow. It's the same idea minus the like reflective highlighter product. You're using a concealer that's a little lighter. Again, you want to find a brush that's shaped so perfectly that you can do this. You don't want it to be too fluffy. You really want it to be nice and flat. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a little powder on my upper lip just because I did it on my bottom lip and we got to make things even. And there you have it, you guys. How beautiful is this? It is so beautiful. I feel like it takes away all the intimidation and the scary part of a bold lip. For me, the biggest takeaway from this is using a nude lip pencil with a bold lip color, which I think we are in this idea that we have to match our lipstick and our lip liner. But what happens, I think, is that we grab a lip liner that's like a bold cherry red or a bold fuchsia or whatever you're matching your lipstick to, and that's what you start out with. And if you make a mistake, which is just very apparent with a lip pencil, it just kind of makes you feel like, oh, I failed, I can't do this. So really try and do that tip of using a neutral lip pencil first, filling in the lip with something a little lighter, then going in with a lipstick, and then grabbing a lip liner to deepen or tweak the shade or tone it down or do whatever you need to do. I hope this video was helpful. If you learned anything or learned a tip or trick, leave it in the comment section below. I want to start pulling like comments from you guys on things that you learned and sharing them in each video. I think that would be a lot of fun and we can all learn from each other. So I will have everything linked in the comment section below. Again, this is such a beautiful color. You guys, if you haven't checked out Mel Thompson's collab or her channel, I will have all of her information in the description box below. She is such a beautiful person inside and out, and it just makes me happy that I can support her. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.